All right, let's move into the Monday game. We have Philly at Tampa Bay. Who are you taking?
You know what?
I feel like I know. Like, I know who I'm taking. Like, I've known who as soon as I saw this matchup, I was like, oh God, Philly. Why? You could have gotten anybody else and I would have felt more confident. Anybody else and I would have felt more confident about you winning this game. This is probably the worst matchup for you as a team because not to do with anything on the field, not to do anything like that. If you lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
It's Sirianni, it's Jover.
Your head coach is fired. Your OC's fired because we saw they're willing to move on from Super Bowl coaches. Doug Peterson, they fired after the year after, I believe.
Oh, Howie Roseman knows what he's doing up there. He's definitely a what have you done for me recently kind of guy. In the NFL, you have to be that kind of guy.
So, okay, let's get back to it. Who are you taking? Because I'm taking Tampa Bay.
At home, I'm definitely taking Tampa Bay. But I do want to offer some silver lining for the Eagles fans. Because here's the way, because it's not even like it's a long shot. The Eagles, I want to be clear. Like, I don't want to like downplay it. The Eagles still have got a very, very good shot. And if they're going to capitalize on that shot, it just comes down to two things. They got to come in there and get back to what they do. They got to run that ball down their throat. But again, to the point of, the Bucs D-line has nothing to play with either. So it's like, but that's the thing is they haven't been getting to what they were doing last year. They're not mirroring that run to that pass. If they just try to go out there and let Jalen just sling it, that's not the game plan. Like they're going to get slaughtered if that's the game plan. But if they can come out there, match that energy, run the ball, a lot of, just power football, I think that's going to be, I still would even to a sense lean the Eagles from an objective perspective. But when I apply emotion and everything that's going into the Eagles right now, and you see how disconnected the team is, it's for that reason alone. I do genuinely believe that the Bucs are playing a lot more tight right now. They are. Even though they're not playing great football, they're playing much more tight. So it's like, and the pressure on the Eagles, Sirianni has so many thoughts going through his head right now. The whole staff has so many thoughts going through their head. How organized is this week about to be? How on point is this week about to be? Again, it could be the complete opposite. Maybe they're going to be the pressure under Diamond, whatever. I'm fumbling my words here, but you know what I'm saying? Pressure makes diamonds. Maybe that's how they're going to show up. But the way that it's been recently, that has not been what it is. And if it is another week of that, the Bucs are going to be an 8-win team. My apologies. A 9-win team in the second week of the playoffs.
Here's my thing. I think Baker Mayfield has a lot to prove. Like, I feel like Baker Mayfield's going in this game with a chip on his shoulder. The Eagles went to the Super Bowl last year. Like, okay, I'm going to say this because I want a victory lap a little bit. At the beginning of the year, we're all talking about, me and you talked about a lot. The Eagles just don't feel right. They just don't feel right. Hella people in the comments. New coaches, blah, blah, blah. They're getting everything set up, blah, blah, blah.
I almost forgot about this phase.
It was valid. Our takes were valid. And they're still valid now. Like, you've seen what happened. They fell apart. They have been playing like a top 5 bottom unit in the league the last 6-7 weeks. It's actually pretty bad. And my thing is this, like
2019 Steelers vibes.
Oh God!
They're carbon copies.
They were playing their starters against the Giants, went down 24-0 and pulled their starters. Like, obviously you don't want to get hurt. It was a smart move, but think about that. The Giants are picking at 5. The New York
like
Giants, your division rival, is picking at, actually, let me correct myself, number 6 in the draft.
And side note, let's remember this. Wink Martindale was about to give a karate kick to Brian Dable's fucking face mid-game, and they still were putting up numbers like that on them.
Yeah, and Brian Dable's out right now. He stormed out. He has mutually parted ways with the Giants.
Oh, no, that was Wink. You mixed up Wink and Brian.
I did, my bad. Wink Martindale.
Yes, but Wink is out, yes. And that's the point is, even with all of that, these two dudes hated each other and kept it relatively unpublic, except for the one time it got leaked. But whenever they asked about it themselves, they made it seem like they still had a good relationship. Obviously, they didn't. Nobody got along in the building with each other, and still, under that Giants culture, they came in there and kicked their ass. I mean, you have to ask yourself, if you're an Eagles fan, how bad the culture is right now.
All right, I'm gonna blindly read you stats.
And are we gonna get to Nick Sirianni's tirade here in a second too? Okay. We have to go back to Nick Sirianni's foolery.
3,800 yards, 3,858 yards, 23 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. 4,444 yards, 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions.
Wait, you're telling me that
If I
Jalen
were to
Hurts?
tell you before the season that Baker Mayfield had a better quarterback, let's forget the rushing because we know what those touchdowns are. They're 1 yard tush push plays, and I'm not trying to take that away, but we know what that is. Like that's
it's Jason Kelsey's what you're saying?
Yeah, it's the Eagles as a team. It is not Jalen Hurts. If I were to tell you before the year that Baker Mayfield was going to have a better year than Jalen Hurts, you tell me I'm smoking fucking crack.
No, what? So I might have, but then I'm going to take another victory lap on something that I had earlier in the year, and this year has been far more another year that has just further exemplified it 100%. But you know what that was? The QB market doesn't work, and it's not going to work. One of these coaches is going to have to put their fucking foot down and say, dude, fuck off. And Jalen Hurts was the guy that the Eagles had to tell that to. They had to say, dude, fuck off. You want that money for what the O-line did for you.
Everyone was very pressed to call Jalen Hurts a top 5 quarterback. And like, even though I would put him up there, I was always very hesitant to because it just never felt like it was actually like him doing most of the work. I understand you want to surround your guys with good players, but I mean, like, if you look at like receiving yards, Mike Evans had 6 more touchdowns than AJ Brown and only had about 200 less receiving yards. Like, my thing is, Mike Evans maybe the better receiver this year. I don't know.
Like, but the second half of the year wasn't even close. That's the thing is, if you take away AJ Brown's first half was insane.
Only about 60 less rushing yards than just DeAndre Swift and 1 more touchdown. Like, maybe the Bucs are a better team. Like, bro, like.
It's literally
to be very real with you, the way the Eagles have performed has been laughable. And to see what the Bucs have done with Baker Mayfield and Todd Bowles, like, bro, you can't tell me the Eagles are winning on Monday.
Yes, side note, but off topic, but on topic, and we'll get back on it. Todd Bowles, talking about saving your job masterclass. This year was definitely that.
Yeah, he snapped.
He snapped, getting himself out of the hot seat right at the perfect time.
All right, let's go on the Sirianni tirade because I don't really have much else to say.
I know. Let's get into it because I would say if you could pinpoint, you literally could pinpoint one moment that this downfall happened was, hey, call me crazy. Hey, maybe, just maybe, the primest leader of your team shouldn't be going on moral victory laps in the other team's stadium. Like, just maybe you would never see Belichick talking shit to another fan base. Just maybe there's this thing in the universe where you can't start gloating when you haven't done shit. Just maybe. This is the final proof that everyone needed that cosmic energy really does exist. And when you piss off whatever's going on deep down in the universe or however you want to look at it, we're not going to get into worldviews. However you look at it, you piss off the wrong spirits or the universe. I say it doesn't go well. And all I'm saying is, in this case, I do genuinely believe that you can pinpoint the exact moment the Eagles' downfall started to Nick Sirianni. It was like, the football spirits reviewers looking down. They're like, bruh, this motherfucker thinks he's on one. Bet that. Like, you see soon, clown. I didn't mean to make it like this because I was so much convinced that Nick Sirianni truthfully wasn't. I hate to say this because I don't ever like. I don't like to get on guys' cases personally, but not per se the clown-ish personality that I thought he was. But now this year, it's like it's completely done a 360. And I'm like, no, wait a minute. That always was him, and he just got bailed out by the fact that he had the perfect roster last year. Literally. Howie Roseman was doing all the work behind the scenes. And maybe that's how Howie Roseman felt about Doug Peterson, too. If anything, Howie Roseman doesn't get enough love. And you Philly fans that were chanting to get Howie Roseman out the door a few years ago, you better be at his fucking doorstep with flowers and chocolates. Like, because Howie Roseman is definitely the identity of that team.
All right, so you're taking Philly or Tampa Bay? I'm taking Tampa.
I can still definitely see Philly doing it, but I'm taking Tampa. Lock it in.